Good morning and welcome back. I hope you all had a lovely week. We're back again, and this week we are making, as you might have noticed, pizzas. Another reason for what I wanted to do pizzas today was I've showed you how sort of versatile these units can be, but they can also be used to do pizzas, as an example. So as it stands, all of the ovens are currently set on 250 on convection with no humidity in there at all. So that's pretty much the settings that I'm going with. I don't often cook pizzas in combi oven, so I'm hoping this is going to work. We've got many flavours that we can do today. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to get these pizzas finished off now, and then we can get them all in the ovens. Get them going. So since last week, this week we're going to be going into the pizzas, and we're going to be doing that, and then shortly after that we're going to be putting them all on a clean cycle as well, just to show you how they all go onto a cycle and just how easy it is to do at the end of the day. It doesn't require too much effort. Just trying to make them all look somewhat uniform at the moment. See, I'm not a big, I like the sauce on pizzas, but I don't like too much. In an ideal world, I want the ovens to sort of crispen them up. I want a little bit of char on there as well, a little bit of black on the dough as well, so I've set it quite high. I was going to go a little bit higher, but I just thought I'd play it safe, because I'd rather not burn them all or something. So the Hobart on the end, that's been 2 years in the making, in the sort of development stage of getting it ready for use in the public. And so it is a real newcomer in it, and I really do rate it. I think it is a very good machine. It's very self-explanatory. I like the little features on there that you can do, and just an all-round pretty good machine. Like, I'm quite impressed with it myself. It does a good job of the cleaning cycles as well when you put it on a clean, just as good as all the rest of them. But as I say, quite a newcomer, so not a lot of people will know it exists at the moment, but it is out there, and it is a very good machine, and I would strongly recommend either coming here to have a little play with it for yourself, or go nearly there. Going to get some toppings on them as well. We had a little bit of a poll in the office to see who wanted what. So we've got a few requests. We're going to do ham and pineapple, which, by the way, I don't mind ham and pineapple. I know a lot of people think it's not the best choice, but I don't mind it actually. And then we're going to do pepperoni one. These shouldn't take too long to cook, between sort of 10 and 15 minutes, I would say, is sort of the average time for a pizza. Now, a pizza oven obviously is going to do a better job than a combi oven will ever do, but we'll see today just to see how good they actually are. So you might notice as well that I've actually put trays in each of the ovens, so I've pre-warmed the tray. I think with the Rationale one, you can buy like a sort of pizza stone for it. I'm not sure on the rest of them if they all do that, but I know the Rationale does do a pizza stone. Now, if you're not the biggest pizza place and you've got a couple on the menu and you think, do I spend, £400 or £500 on a little pizza oven, a little single deck or a twin deck? But you could just use, if you had a tray in your Rationale, I mean, you could cook them at 180 if you wanted to. It might not have the same outcome as a pizza oven, but you wouldn't have to spend that kind of money. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put them all in. I'm going to close the doors at the same time. Hopefully this works out all right for me. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this second shelf up to give myself a little bit more space. There's one. So all of these doughs were made yesterday by me. They've been left in the fridge overnight. I don't know why, but I find that pizza dough is much easier to work once it's been in the fridge overnight, rather than it being warm. I feel like it holds its shape a little bit better and doesn't get too sort of stretchy that you start making holes and stuff. I'm not sure if that's general practice with pizzas in general, but that's just how I prefer to do it. So as I said, probably about 10 to 15 minutes on them. So hopefully we're going to come out, they're going to be nice and crispy, have a nice little bit of char on them, and cooked right the way through as well. So hopefully that goes all right. We'll keep an eye on them as we're going along. I'm going to do these 4, then we're going to do another 4 because I've got plenty of mix left over, so we're going to do a few. These ovens in general are available in electric and gas. I don't believe this one particular, the Max, I don't think it's available in gas, but they have the other range, which I believe you can have gas on. So they're all rangeable electric and gas. You just got to bear in mind that if you've got, you know, because they've got a screen on them as well, that if you do go for gas, they do still require some sort of power supply. I think like the rationale is like a 13 amp supply. I'm not too sure on the Hobarts and the Electrolux, but they will require some sort of electrical power. I think I touched on last week about how dirty the ovens were and when I cleaned them all, and I said a couple of them were more dirty than the others. So I think the rationale on the Convotherm was had more sort of yellow grime grease on there from cooking, but the Hobart and the Electrolux wasn't quite as bad. And I think I mentioned that, you know, the two that weren't as dirty cost more to clean, but maybe they need less cleaning because for whatever reason they've all been used for reasonably the same thing. And a nice little rise. I was supposed to bring my dough docker in with me, which is like a little roller with pins in it to sort of roll across the dough to stop any air bubbles forming. I used a fork instead. I don't think it's going to work quite as well, but I thought I'd give it a try. Next week, I'm going to not be here next week. I'm going to be at the Lakeland Hospitality Show. We are taking a rationale with us. We haven't got the power supply there to plug it in because we don't have free phase there, but it will be there if you want to come and see one in person. We will be there as well, and you can just pop in and say hi to me, and, you know, meet the man himself. I'll be there with some of our Fab's team, Amanda. So if you want to pop down and say hello, you can do. We've got loads of little catalogues for you for all our fabrication work that we do and stuff, so that'll all be sort of there for you to look at as well. As I say, I put them all on 0 heat, so there's no heat going in, like no moisture going into there. I just wanted it as dry as possible. I think the oven might be a little bit too hot for these pizza ovens, for these pizzas. Actually, no, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it for this one, and then we'll try it on the next one. But the cheese is colouring faster than I anticipated. So if you have a look, they're all starting to nice and brown now. The cheese is getting a nice little bit of brown on the top as well. So when I do the next lot, I think I'm going to drop it down to about 225 next time. Hopefully it won't be too much longer now. I said 10 to 15 minutes. I think that was optimistic. Definitely going to be coming out sooner, I think we're there. That was a lot faster than I anticipated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get them all, lay them out here. So we've got the Combi-off, which looks very, very nice. There we go. We've got the rationale. We've got Hobart and Electrolux. Now, if you look at all them, really nice colour on them. Probably could have done with the temperature being a tiny touch lower, but I think that looks about right. So if you was to look on the underside, again, got a nice sort of brown. It's not got any char that I wanted, but if you look underneath as well, like it's nice and crispy underneath as well. So that's because the trays are all preheated in the oven. That's what's helped that with that. So if you are going to cook pizzas in a combi oven, just have a tray sat in there, waiting to just fly the pizzas in. As long as you've got a pizza paddle, you can get them in and out, no problem at all. So that's worked out really nicely. So I'm going to drop all the temperatures down ever so slightly, I think, to 225, just for the next lot, just to see how they turn out. So I'm just going to open the doors for a minute, just to let the ovens cool down ever so slightly, so before I close them again. So yeah, really nice outcome there. Bit too much colour on the cheese for my sort of liking. I'd liked it a bit more, but the cheese is still, like, although it's very coloured, it is like stretchy still. It's not burnt, it's not gone too crisp, but it's just a lot more colour than I would have liked. But I would say, considering that was done in a combi oven, I don't think that was a bad attempt at a pizza. And if you're only selling a couple of pizzas, or if you've only got 2 or 3 on the menu and you don't sell a great deal, just a fantastic option for you as well. So like previously, I've done toasties in there as well. If you're a little cafe, if you've got, you know, if you want a Merry Chef, for example, I know these probably aren't as fast and as a Merry Chef will be. It's just an option. So if you've got, like, if you need a combi oven, or if you need a Merry Chef, or you need both and you haven't got the money for both, the combi oven would sort of be the one that you would sort of go towards, because it can be used for many more applications rather than the Merry Chef. Although that's not to say that the Merry Chef's not good. The Merry Chef's a fantastic piece of kit. Definitely worth having one if you've got a small kitchen. As we've said previously as well, we can install all these machines for you with our engineers who are all trained on the machines, that we can come in, fit them all for you, and you get your peace of mind that it's all done correctly. And if you are interested in an install, all you need to do is just give our office a call, speak to one of the sales team upstairs, and we can make that happen for you. Most of these can be delivered within a week. Most of them, if it's in stock, sometimes they can go on a next day delivery if you're absolutely desperate for it. But it's very rare that we get asked for a next day delivery of a combi oven, because it's one of them things that takes a lot of planning before, you know, committing to a lot of money. So a lot of people aren't too fussed with the 3 to 5 days for delivery. I think Electrolux is about 2 to 3. Rationale's 3 to 5. Convotherm again is 2 to 3. and Hobart, I think, is about 2 to 3 days for delivery if they're all in stock. So you can get them there reasonably quickly. If you had an engineer on, your own engineer who installs these for you, you could have one, you could order it on Monday and have it there by the weekend and installed. If we were to come out and install, ideally we would get it delivered to ourselves first so we can put it on the back of our van, and we would bring it to you and install it all at the same time, so you're not waiting for a courier to come and then waiting for us to book you in, which disrupts your own business. So if you want it all done in one big go, come and get us to do it for you. As I've said previously, we can send one guy down. If you've got someone on site that can just help us get it on the stand who's strong enough. But of course, if you haven't got somebody there that can lift one of these, we can send 2 guys down for you as well. That does cost a little bit more to get the second guy down, but it's just an extra option if you needed it as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on the neck. You might notice as well that I left my rolling pin at home this morning, so I'm using a roll of cling film to start rolling the dough out. So you've just got to wing it sometimes, haven't you? So hopefully these ovens will be dropping down to the temperature slightly. Now, I can't do any fancy tricks with pizza doughs like you see on some videos. Unfortunately, I'm not that skilled to do that just yet. Pizzas aren't something I'm 100% familiar with, but I have made quite a lot of them in the past in other kitchens that I've worked in. And I know this isn't exactly best practice, but hey-ho. So this, I only really need to start the rolling process off, really. That's how I like to start it. I don't know if that's the proper way of doing it, but I just like to get my basic shape ready, and then I'll stretch it with my hands. So if you ever have an issue with your ovens as well, all of these suppliers here have all got plenty of engineers all around the country that can come out. Some of them come out in 24 hours, depending on how busy they are. Some of them 2 to 3 days. But as I say, it just depends on the busyness of them at the time. So if you did have an issue go wrong, hopefully you're not going to have a machine down for too long before you do it. So let's get stretching. Some people like to use semolina when they're making pizza doughs. I'm just not a big fan of semolina on pizza. Oh, I've ripped a little hole there. I know I didn't show you at the beginning of the video, but all these doughs weigh the exact same, within sort of 5 grams of each other. So I weighed them out at 330 grams each to try and keep it all fair. There we go, look at that. Didn't take me too long. So as I say, we're going to go through a cleaning cycle on there as well. We've only got all these ovens connected into 1 ton dish, so ideally, in a real world scenario, you'd want a ton dish for each one ideally, but if you haven't got that, so there's a good chance that the ovens might leak a bit of water on the floor. Looks like I just made enough sauce for all of them. So all of the ovens that you see behind me at the moment, these are all 1x1 gastro compatible ovens, which is the universal size for trays in the UK. So that's what they're designed around. So all of the ovens can come in a 6 grid, 10 grid, 20 grid as a 1x1 size. But they can also come in 2x1s. Now, not a lot of people use 2x1s. The kind of place you'd see that is maybe somewhere where it does buffet food or, a carvery of some resemblance. And a 2x1 is classed as, so if you had a 20 grid, it's classed as a 40, but the way to explain it is you can use a 2x1 gastro, or you can use a 1x1, but it'll go in, rather than long ways, it'll go in short ways, and it'll go in that way. So that is an option for them as well. So you've got like 2 sort of different sizes. The Rationale has something called the XS, which is a 2x3 gastro size, which is very, very small. I seen one in person for the first time the other day, and they are incredibly small. But if you're tight on space, if you're a little cafe that just wants a bit of a combi oven and just doesn't have enough space or the footprint for a full size, the XS would be a perfect option for you. They are, like, when I say small, I mean they're about this big and about as wide as this door. Tiny, tiny little things they are. I think it looks quite cool though, to be fair. And I think it's a fantastic option for people with lack of space. So they're not the hugest sellers in the world, because not a lot of people require an oven that small, but small cafes with small turnovers could be absolutely ideal for you. Or if you don't have a lot of stuff that goes through an oven, then and you just want something that's smaller, then that would be your ideal option. So the cheese I've used today is about a 20-80 split. So you've got about 20% cheddar and 80% mozzarella. I like a bit more mozzarella. I don't know if anyone uses the same sort of ratio as I do, but I'm a big fan of mozzarella. Although it doesn't really taste them much, but I do like it. And let's go for the toppings. As we've said a few times before as well, these ovens are going to be here for a few months. So if you do want to come down and have a little look, you are more than welcome. I'm here Monday to Friday. If you give me a call us up to book it in, and we can I can make sure I'm down here for you, show you how they all work and operate, and just get a genuine, unbiased opinion. Because if you was to go to Electrolux, they'll say, oh, you know, ours is the best, can do this, etc., etc. But and if you get the same from Rationale, Convotherm, they all say the same thing. So sometimes it is really difficult to make a decision when everyone's telling you the same thing about their ovens. So if you just want someone who's not going to press you to buy a particular brand, or it's just going to give you his honest opinion, you know, that's what it's here for, basically. We're not here to sort of talk down for one another, like, you know, as a word, slagging any of them off. That's not what we're about. That's not what we want to do. We just want to give you our honest opinion, and you know, we're not gonna downsell any of them. We'll just tell you exactly what they do, find out what it is you're going to be using it for, and we can make an educated decision from there. And the last one's going to be cheese. Fantastic. Let's go. Hopefully this will turn out just a little bit nicer than my last one. I didn't doctor down. Oh well. But if you noticed before that when I took them all out, they all came out almost at the exact same time. I know it takes me a couple of seconds to get around to taking each one out, but it goes to show that the heat inside these ovens is consistent, and each one is consistent with one another, because they all do the same thing, as it were, which I think is just a real key point, really, that, you know, I think that's really our main focus at Caterkwik, is that, you know, fair enough, one oven might have a different feature to another, but ultimately, when you're using these day to day for various things, they very almost do the exact same thing, almost at the exact same time. So I'm going to stick this over here. No, I'll keep that. I've got a couple of those left, but I've not got much sauce. So in these ovens, talking about cleaning, there's multiple cleaning options on there, which you can use. Most of the suppliers try and recommend that you do a light clean a day as preventative maintenance for limescale build-up if you're in a hard water area, but they recommend a light clean every day. So they do like a light clean, they do a medium clean, and they'll do a really strong clean. But they also have like a fast clean, like a rinse almost. As I said before, if you drop something or spill something in the oven and you just need to get rid of it, you can do with just a quick rinse clean. Or if you're in the middle of service and you haven't got time for 15 minutes of oven downtime, they can be supplied, or some of them come standard with water hoses inside there, so you could just get a sponge and the water hose and just spray it and give it a quick scrub if you absolutely had to. I think some of the suppliers also said to me that the hoses shouldn't be used to cool the oven temperature down. It's not good practice, but it's just something to bear in mind. One of the biggest faults with these machines as well, not a fault as such, just an issue that a lot of people have, is with the door seals. So each of these has a door seal around the glass. It's really important that you maintain that and clean that regularly, because when you stick the oven on a clean cycle, it won't clean the gasket because it's almost on the outside. And they are the first things to break, because it's made out of rubber, it's classed as a consumable item. So if it was to break and snap, or if it was to break and have holes in it and started leaking water everywhere, you'd have to pay for the engineer to come out and replace it. You'd also have to pay for the part. So I know it sounds silly, but it's just a really important one. And then the next biggest fault is people breaking the thermometers inside of the oven. So each oven has a home for its thermometer to sit into. So they always recommend, when you're finished using it, put it back to its original position, so you just don't damage it. Don't get me wrong, they're not a very sort of expensive item, but you know, when you take on top the cost of the engineer call out and the time on site, and you know, it does add up, and ultimately it'll cost you money. So it's, you know, just make sure that you've always tucked it back away again. I'm just going to give this area a bit of a clean for when these ovens come out quickly. So if you want to come around and have a little look at how they're all getting on. Now, I think this temperature is more ideal at the moment, the 225, so the 250 might have been a little bit too high. But I think they're all coming along nicely, a little bit slower this time. Now, the only issue I would have with an oven the temperature too high, is the dough might not thoroughly cook right the way through. So I think 225 is looking like the sweet spot to me, because that was just a bit too high. So yeah, that's just how versatile these machines can be. And that's kind of what I want to sort of get onto next, really, is showing you all the different things, maybe things that you thought, oh, I never even thought about doing that in a combi oven. Just to strike the imagination, get the imagination going, and just thinking, what else could I possibly use this for? I think every oven has every oven I've got has a bit of a bit of not a flaw as such, just like certain little things that maybe kind of irritate me a little bit. So things that seem silly, but I think it makes a bit of a difference to me. So like, for example, I think the Rationale doesn't have a physical on and off button, which it's just, I really wish it had a button, otherwise it'd be a real top machine. Convotherm, for example, if I was to drop the temperature of the oven, so if I wanted to drop it to 200, the oven will tell me to keep the door open while it cools down. But if I've got something in there and I'm still cooking, I understand the reason why it was doing that, but at the same time, I just want it to drop temperature, slowly if it has to. But it makes you open the door and keep it open until the oven temperature's right, which is a little bit of a thing that I'm not too sure on. This one, I can't really say I've got much going on with this one because it's such a really nice, easy screen, and there's nothing in here that's really sort of maybe go, ugh. So doing all right. And then the Hobart one, I quite like that. There's not much really here that I would say that I don't particularly like, or there's not a feature on there that I think is a bit irritating sometimes. I think it's an all-round quite good machine. But I mean, that's not to say these machines are bad. It's just my personal opinion on two things. I know it's only small, but I think it does make a little bit of a difference. I think these pizzas will be coming out in just a second. 100%, let's go. I'm gonna start with the Convotherm because this one looks like it's cooking a little bit faster. Here we go, we've got the Convotherm here. Really nice, crispy crust. A bit crispier than these ones over here. Ooh. Here we've got the Electrolux. And we've got the Rationale. Lastly, we've got the Hobart. There we go. So, if we look at all these now, so this really nice crunchy, I don't know if you'll be able to do it, but it's a really nice crunchy crust, nice and coloured underneath as well. Then we've got this one, which is again really nice crunchy crust, nice and brown on the bottom. This one as well. Oh, hang on, yeah, please put the microphone back on. Does help, doesn't it? There we go. And again, nice colour on the bottom of that one. Now I do like a little bit more char to them, but I don't think you're going to quite get that, because if you take the oven much higher, you're going to end up with a raw dough, not a nice crispy dough, and the cheese cooks a bit too quick. So there's no way to get the same the same cook that you would get in a pizza oven. Especially because pizza ovens, you've got to remember as well, some pizza ovens go all the way up to about 450 degrees. These will only go up to 300. If I took it much further, it wouldn't be a very nice pizza at all. So that's that one. I'm going to have a look at them. I'm going to have a look at my notes and see what I can. Cool. So that's pretty much me done for my cooking side of things. So now we're going to get into a bit of the cleaning. I'm not going to clean all four at once, I don't think, but I'm going to show you how to get to that stage. So on here, so on the main screen, if you're on the cooking mode here, you just press the back button, and then if you wanted to go back to the home screen, just tap your progress button, and you've got three options. This one will take you home, and that's stopped everything that's going on inside of there. And then down here, you've got the cleaning cycles. Okay, so we've got the cleaning cycles here. So you've got light, medium, strong, like I said earlier. You've got a rinse and a quick. So you can select your method that you want to do, and then we will get out. I'm going to open the oven again. So tablets would sit inside of this thing down here, nice and simple. And then the rinse aid powder would just get poured inside of this, which is nice and easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a pair of scissors and open these things up. In fact, I'll just use a knife, it's fine. So I'm just going to put them on a light clean. So if I was to click light clean, it's going to tell me when to add the cleaning tabs. So I'm just going to get a couple out of that one. I'm going to pop these on the side here, pop this down below. So if we come along to the next one, I'm just going to take the tray out of this oven as well. They're all going to be going on a light clean today. You click out of what you're doing, so you've got a little back arrow here, and if you hold that down, back to your main screen, oven stops doing what it's doing. And then up here, we've got the cleaning cycle here, which is the little circle in blue. And it tells me the cleaning status. And again, you've got light, medium, strong. You've got fast, rinse without cleaning. Not quite sure what that one is, but these three on the bottom are same for the Hobart. You don't really want to be using these to clean the machines regularly. You really do want to be using one of these. I'll just open the oven door for a sec. There you go, have a look. So down here, we've got the chemicals, which is the detergent and the rinse aid, all set in here, so you don't have to touch any chemicals with this one. Just automatically doses it for you. And as I said earlier as well, you have got a hose here that you can use for that as well. Now this is going to tell me to open the door so it can get rid of the hot air. So, but I'm going to pass on that for just a second. Next, we're going to keep one on. I'm not going to clean all four at the same time, but this is just to sort of show you how it goes. So over here, this is the main screen. So if I go back into this again, you've got your back button here, which you just press that, and then you press the water droplet. And again, you've got 5 options here. So you've got 3 cleans. So you've got Quick, Express, and Care Step. These, as I said earlier on, the other ones, it's all right for cleaning a little bit of a mess inside the oven, but I wouldn't regularly use them to clean it because it won't do a good enough job. So you'd use either the light or the heavy. I'm just going to go light. If you want to come around this way, it might be a bit easier. So there we go. Get the tray out of here. Now again, this has got the it doses itself for its cleaning cycles, which is all in bottles underneath, and it's got a little pipe that goes inside, and it just draws all the chemicals inside for you. Now these ovens are going to want to cool down a bit, so they'll ask you to open the door while the temperature goes down. I'm going to leave the rationale till last because that blows a lot of hot air out and it's really loud. And then lastly, the Electrolux. I'll probably do this one after all these are finished. So just need to come out of what I'm doing. So you click on the cleaning cycle. Now at the moment it's showing hot. That's because the internal temperature is really hot at the moment. And then you've got multiple cleans. So on this one you've got 5 cleans again. So you've got clean 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 is just a D scale. Now if you're in a very hard water area, that's something that extra that maybe you want to do every now and then, just to have it. And for example, on the D scale, you wouldn't have any detergent tablets, you would just have the rinse aids going in there. All the other cycles, for example, so you've got the clean 1, which is only 2 detergent ones, and then you've got clean 2, which is 2 chemicals, 1 rinse aid, and then the clean 3, which is 3 and 1. So it's asking me to cool it down, but I'm just going to come back out of that because I'm not going to put this one on clean just yet. But I am going to come back to this rationale and get this one going. That's what I mean about it being loud. Not going to do much talking because it's loud as anything at the moment, but all these ovens now need to cool down for cleaning, which doesn't take too long to do, but once it's done, it'll tell you to close the door, and then it'll automatically start the cleaning for you. They do take a few minutes though. I'm not too sure if you can hear the sound of that or whether you can hear me talking over that sound, but I'm hoping you can. So I think we said before as well that you can also have vents on top of all these ovens, like ultra vents or various different brands that they do as well, which is good for if you haven't got a canopy over the top of it, because they do produce quite a lot of steam and it can hit the ceiling. So it's another option for you. Or if you're just on the edge of a canopy where it's maybe sticking out a little bit, maybe you want to put one on there. Now they do cost like a reasonable amount of money, a couple of £1,000 on top of the cost of the rationale itself. But for the rationale, for example, you've got like a condensate breaker, which is like an exhaust pipe that sticks off, which points the steam in the direction you want it to go to. So you could literally have it coming out and then pointing right at the fan. It's getting really hot in here. Whoa. So, as I said, it says remove the grids and tray racks, but I'm going to leave them in. So that's pretty much on its way to go now. The costs per cycles on these things, so for the cleaning cycles, for example, if you was to do like 3 light cleans a week, for the Electrolux you're looking at, I think it was £3.30 a clean, which is a bit more than the rest of them, but as I said earlier, they don't seem to get as dirty as the other ones. And then you've got the Convotherm, which is about 82 pence a clean, which is incredibly good value. You've got the Rationale, which works out, looking at my notes, is about 58p a clean, I think it is. And then you've got the Hobart over here, which is about £2.47. But as I said, these two, this is just average, by the way. This is just up to our best workings out we can possibly do. So these two aren't quite as, I don't think they need doing quite as often as these two. So that's might be part of the reason why, maybe. This one takes a long time. Fantastic. So I'm going to reheat all these for the staff upstairs, and so I put them all back on trays. So I think I've said it before as well. All the chemicals that come with them, you get starter packs with all the ovens. Now these starter packs will perhaps tie you over for a couple of weeks at most. So if you want to buy some with it as well, just to save you buying some later on, you can do. It's just a really good idea to always have plenty of them as well, and make sure it's getting done regularly. Now, some of these ovens can have like an application, as it were, or an app, which shows you how often it gets cleaned. It shows you the HACCP systems on there, what temperature things were cooked to, the recipes. So if you're the boss, the owner, and you've bought a lot of money on the combi oven, you can see exactly when it is. But you can also do a force clean as well on this one and this one. I'm not too sure. I don't think you can do it on this one and that one though. But the Premium S, you most likely will be able to do it. So you can do like a force clean, which will prompt the chef to put it on a cleaning cycle after, say if the oven knows how long it's been on for and it says I need a clean, it'll come on and tell you it needs doing. Now, you can click out of that and it won't physically start until you want it to. So say if you've set it for 9:30 at night and you've had a table come in late and your oven's still in use, it'll pop up at 9:30 to say it needs to go on a clean, but you can't exit that, but it will pop up again to say I need to go on a cleaning cycle. So if it's just good to have a little prompt there, or if you've got junior members of staff that aren't sure how often it should be cleaned, you can have it preset up that it tells it when to clean. And you can do that all on the app as well, which is the Connected Cooking app. Now, it is a free app that you can use, but they do also have a version of it where you pay. I can't remember what the additional benefits are for paying for it, but so we've not got much time. So this is still taking a bit of time to do whatever it is it's doing. I'm guessing it's just coming down to temperature, which just takes a little bit of doing when it was at such a high temperature for these pizzas. As I said, I'm not here next week, but I am here the following week. So if you guys want to see me cooking anything, or if you want me to try something new, just let me know. And again, if you want to come down and have a little play with them, you're more than welcome to. Just give us a call or scan the QR code that we've got for it as well, and just make your booking, and we'll make sure I'm available for that day for you. You can bring your own food, cook your own food, if you wish. Not a problem at all. Now, while I'm going into this, I know I haven't got the Electrolux going on a clean, but this one has done it a lot faster. Now, that is probably a bit of a positive for me, because at the end of a night, and you've done a 14-hour shift and you need to put the oven on a clean, or it's forcing you to put it on a clean, which is even worse. If you need to put it on a cleaning cycle, it didn't take too long to get down to temperature. I'm not sure if there's a way I can, but this one here takes a whole lot longer, and this one is also taking a whole lot longer. Now, at the end of a night, I wouldn't necessarily want to sit there for an extra 10 minutes and wait for this to happen, because most people are pretty keen to get out of there as soon as they can, go to the pub, go home, go to bed, or whatever it is they might be doing. So the rationale is far faster with getting onto a cleaning cycle than these two. This one I put on a cleaning cycle before, again, doesn't take very long either. This one's quite quick. I'll show you that one in the following week though. I just don't want to put all three on at once, flood the kitchen out. Trying to think if there's anything else I can sort of go through before we leave today. I think I'm pretty much about there. I've showed you where the chemicals go and how to get it onto the cleaning cycle, but this is just going to take a little bit longer now. But hopefully you enjoyed watching me today. I'm trying to think of more ideas, something that's going to really challenge these ovens. I really want to think of something that's out of the ordinary for these ovens, only because I just want to keep touching on how versatile they are, and you can use them for many things, because a lot of chefs out there will just use them as an oven, and it'll just be on 180 on convection with a little bit of steam, and it'll be sat like that for 12 hours a day, which is fine. But you can buy a Blue Seal convection oven if you really wanted to and have the same outcome. So it's just to sort of show you what you can do with these machines as well, and just show that it can actually replace maybe other machines in your kitchen. It might not be the most ideal solution, but it's definitely something that you could, work on. These two are super slow. But that's fine. Anyway, I will leave you to it. I hope you have a nice week, and I'll see you not next week, but the week after. And hopefully we'll be doing something a bit more exciting than a pizza.